Last weekend was the biggest weekend for Jiu-Jitsu in the history of the sport, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. In my 15 years of Jiu-Jitsu, CJI was hands down the best grappling event I've ever witnessed, and we should all be incredibly thankful to Craig Jones and everyone involved for putting this historical event together. To me, this set a new standard for Jiu-Jitsu competition to the point where I didn't even bother watching ADCC for the first time in my life because I just don't care this time around. And I think as a whole, we could all agree that we don't need to spend 90% of the budget on bongos and fire makers. If I want to see lasers and fire makers for $200, I'll spend my weekend at EDC, not ADCC. Now, contrast someone like Mo Jassim or Seth Daniels with someone like Craig Jones, whose very first event probably paid more than ADCC has in their entire existence. The pay aside, the card shows how beneficial it is to have someone with experience on the matchmaking side. There was multiple first round matchups that are some of my favorite matchups of all time, and it only got better as the card played out. I'll briefly cover every match, but I'll put a link to a full play-by-play in the description for anyone interested. We'll start with the whole under 80 kilogram bracket, then we'll go to the over 80 kilograms, and then onto the super fights. Now, starting off the under 80 kilograms, Ruotolo and Jason Nolf was one of the matches I was really hyped for. The results are what I assumed, but I was not expecting Tai to stand with Nolf the entire match. That was a huge statement on Tai's part. This might be the best wrestler we've seen in Jiu-Jitsu, and even though Tai got taken down once or twice, to even contend with him on his feet is huge. Nolf beat Jordan Burroughs this year if you need an idea of where his wrestling level is. Tai ends up winning by knee bar in the third round. After that, we had Roberto Jimenez versus Levi Jones-Leary, and good God was I wrong about Levi in my predictions. I said the crab ride game doesn't translate well to Nogi, but as soon as this match started, I realized how wrong I was. I still stand by the statement that the crab ride doesn't directly translate to Nogi well, but Jesus does it fit right into that Lachlan Giles leg lock style like a glove. It took me all of 15 seconds to realize I was gonna have to eat my words on this one. Levi makes it look easy and takes out Roberto Jimenez with a first round heel hook. Lucas Barbosa and Kenta Iwamoto was another one I got wrong. Originally I said the Hulk and then I changed my mind to pick Kenta after watching some B-team footage. I like Kenta and I think he's gonna do well in the future, but I'm not at all surprised Hulk pulled out a decision on this one. Andy Varela and Jozef Chen was another one I was really excited about and went as expected. Chen has this ability to flip the switch and instantly pass or sweep, and I want to know if you guys have any thoughts on this because with most people you can see that snowball rolling down the hill and getting bigger and bigger. You can see them setting up the moves and the path they're on. But with Chen, it's almost like you look away for a split second, you look back and the snowball's exploded in your face, past your guard and took your back and choked you. And I don't even want to call it an explosive movement because it's not. It's like he just says fuck your defense and does the move. This one was a unanimous decision for Chen, but it was a very fun one to watch. Then we had the two ADCC champs, Kade Ruotolo versus Matheus Diniz. All I can say is Kade is something else. There's times where he makes these things look so easy, and this was one of them. After putting a Masvidal-style three-piece combo on Diniz, which was a little suspect, I think he probably should have got penalized for it, he ends up running him to the wall and finishing the takedown. That scenario perfectly illustrates why the alley is so awesome. We're so used to people playing the edge and running out of bounds, but the slanted walls really makes you pay for not maintaining the center. After attempting a knee cut, Kade sits back to the saddle and wraps up an ankle lock on the far leg, finishing Matheus Diniz in the first round. Renato Canuto and Tommy Langaker is one of the other matches I was really excited for, and it definitely delivered. Also, holy hell did Tommy look jacked. He came in there with that Gordon Ryan walk. It ended up being 3 insanely exciting rounds where we got to see some unique transitions on both sides, from Tommy's funky back takes to Canuto flipping off the walls of the alley, but Tommy ends up taking a unanimous decision. Owen O'Flanagan and Magid Hage went about as expected with a quick heel hook from Owen in the first round. Then we had Andrew Tackett versus Nicky Ryan. Nicky Ryan looks amazing for about a minute and then everything seems to go out the window. Now there was some rumors that he was injured going into this. I'm not sure how true they are, but it does seem like there was some issues with training at least. But Andrew Tackett is probably the worst case scenario for someone with bad cardio or who wasn't able to get enough training in, and he easily walks through Nicky Ryan in this match. The quarterfinals started with Ruotolo and Levi Jones-Leary. Now, a lot of people online are saying Tai was injured going into this match and that's the reason he lost, but from watching the match, I'm pretty sure Levi injured him in the first round with his first heel hook attempt. But either way, it was a fun match to watch, so I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. Levi takes this one by unanimous decision. Next was Joseph Chen and Lucas Barbosa. Chen was looking great here. He was up 2 rounds to 1. It was looking like he had the match in the bag, but with about a minute to go, the Hulk jumps on a knee crush submission and finishes it. On to Kade Ruotolo versus Tommy Langaker, another really exciting rematch. There was a lot of back and forth exchanges, but Kade would end up outpacing Tommy and taking the unanimous decision. The Andrew Tackett-Owen O'Flanagan match was one that really showcased the level of Andrew Tackett. There's this new crop of leg lockers that have this ability to attach themselves to the position in a way that I haven't really seen before, and Owen definitely fits into that box. His control from the bottom is amazing, but it still wasn't enough for Tackett's pace. Tackett goes on to win another unanimous decision in another insanely fast-paced match. To start the semifinals, we had Levi Jones-Leary versus Lucas Barbosa. I really like the style matchup here with the high-level guard-focused player versus the high-level passing-focused player. and I think it really showcased the guard of Levi. We got to see some great control from the bottom with sweeps and back takes, and Levi's getting a lot of shit online for playing guard the whole event, but I think these are just dumb, uneducated fans. If you're fighting in an event for $1 million, it's just dumb to not play into your strengths. I'm happy that we're growing jiu-jitsu and we're getting all these new fans in, but it also comes with the territory of the just stand up MMA type guy. Next we had what some would call the greatest jiu-jitsu match of all time, Kade Ruotolo versus Andrew Tackett. If you haven't seen this match, go ahead and step away, click the link I have in the description, watch it and come back when you're done. I won't feel bad. I wouldn't be able to do this match justice to explain how awesome it was, so you just have to watch it for yourself. Come back here when you're done, let me know what you think about it. It was a back and forth match the whole time with Kade taking the unanimous decision. Now, don't get me wrong, the finals was great, I agree with the results, but right before the match, Kade made it clear he wanted to see more penalties for the guard player for not engaging.
I think there needs to be some sort of different as far as a stalling call for the guard players. I feel like it's too easy to be able just to sit on your back and wait for the guy to come to you, you know? It's just my thoughts.
Well, I think the decision going to Kade was the right choice. I think if we just boil it down to engagement, Levi actually engaged more, or at the very least an equal amount. Kade engages almost like he's fencing. He throws an attack, if you counter, he backs out, then rinse and repeat. But this disengagement to look for openings is a core part of his game, where Levi is attempting to set up a guard, progress through different control points to sweep or submit, but he almost never is the one to disengage. Like I said, I think Kade did win this match based on attack attempts, but I think criticizing Levi for the engagement could be a bit of projection that ignores the guard game as a whole. To me, if you engage an equal amount, the engagement conversation is more of an indictment on the person on top. The person on top has the freedom of movement, whereas the person on bottom is placing themselves in a position on the ground for you to engage with. The over 80 kilogram division started with Nicky Rod versus Max Gimenis. Nicky Rod's improvement needs to be studied by scientists, and I don't even think we're done seeing it. It's actually scary to me that I can see technical things he can do better. When I watch most black belts at this level, you see their completed game. But with Nicky Rod, I get the feeling that the ceiling is so high for him, and I think every single time he competes, we're gonna see a new version of Nicky Rod. Jimenez is tough, but Nicky Rod made this one look easy with a second round rear naked choke. The next match is Owen Livesey versus Muhammad Ali. Owen was pretty dominant in this match, but Muhammad Ali did much better with his judo than I expected. It still wasn't enough though, and Livesey takes this one by unanimous decision. Next match was Kyle Boehm versus Owen Bradley. I actually thought this one could have gone the other way, but it was close enough I wouldn't argue with it. It was a slower match with Adam Bradley taking a split decision. Pat Downey versus Luke Rockhold was next, with Pat Downey having a pretty dominant performance, winning all 3 rounds, and one of the judges scoring it even a 30-25 for Downey. Up next was the biggest upset of the night, Victor Hugo versus Lucas Kanard. I had Victor Hugo winning this whole event, but Kanard came out of nowhere with a first round heel hook and continued to impress throughout the night. Then we had Ignacio Santos beating Pedro Alex by split decision in a slow match, followed by Felipe Andrew and Greg Kerkvallett. I'd say Kerkvallett survived well. I kind of expected Felipe to submit him, but it went 3 rounds with Felipe taking a unanimous decision while scoring a 10-8 round in the third. Next was João Rocha versus William Tackett. The gas tank on both the Tackett brothers is unreal. They start the match strong and end the match at the very same pace. João gets cut pretty early in the match, but he ends up weathering the storm and controlling the later half of the fight to pull out a decision win. The quarterfinals starts with Nicky Rod versus Owen Livesey, and again, we see another insanely dominant performance from Nicky Rod with a first round rear naked choke on Livesey. Up next was another win from Adam Bradley by split decision in another pretty boring match against Pat Downey. And I could have seen this one going either way, but again, I wouldn't fight too hard on the decision. Then we had Ignacio Santos taking out Lucas Kanard in another decision win. Next we had Felipe Andrew and João Rocha, with Felipe Andrew demonstrating some impressive guard work and winning the match 30-27. To start the semifinals, we had Nicky Rod versus Adam Bradley. And again, Nicky Rod has another insanely dominant performance, controlling the first 2 rounds and finishing his 3rd rear naked choke of the night in the 3rd round, moving on to the finals. The other side of the bracket finished with Felipe Andrew heel hooking Ignacio Santos and moving on to the finals against Nicky Rod. The finals were pretty short and sweet, with Nicky Rod passing the guard, taking the back, and finishing his 4th rear naked choke of the night to win the $1 million prize, and then he proceeds to call out Gordon Ryan for a $1 million match.
The only thing better than $1 million is $2 million. So let's do this. I want a bet match. Mr. Gordon Ryan. Because I know it in my bones that I'm the absolute best grappler on the planet. So let's do this, Bubba. My 1 million versus your 1 million. Winner take all bet match. Come get some, and let's do it live on B Team Jiu Jitsu YouTube channel. I'll see you guys there.
Congratulations, Nicky Rod with the crazy call out and $1 million.
On to the super fights. First we had Ffion Davis versus Mackenzie Dern. This one went about as expected, with Ffion controlling the match and then finishing a rear triangle armbar early in the second. And similar to Nicky Rod, I feel like Ffion is not done growing. I still feel like every time she competes, we're gonna see continuous improvement from her, and every time we're gonna see a better and better showing. And last but not least, we had the Craig Jones-Gabby Garcia match. And as we all know, this is not a competitive contest. It's more here to get eyes on the sport. And in that regard, I'd say it was a success. As I'm recording this, the total view count on both days is up to 3.1 million views, and it's only gonna go up from here over the next couple weeks. I'd go out on a limb and say that this is not only the most watched jiu-jitsu event in history, but also the best paid one, and we all have Craig Jones to thank for that.
Honestly, couldn't break it. I think with the right training and a rematch, we could get the collaboration after all. That's really why I did this.
We really wanted that OnlyFans collaboration, so what are we gonna do now?
I have to do it again, I think.
Renato, we'll do a rematch?
I should do the collab.
Oh, we'll do the collab, even without the leg lock submission. We got the OnlyFans collab.
Thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the channel, like, subscribe, share, all that stuff really helps. Share it wherever you can, Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff helps immensely, and it helps the channel grow. The more eyes we can get on this stuff, the more content I can make and put out, and the more time I can put into this stuff. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.